How the hell is Heihachi still alive in Tekken 8? We all know by now that Heihachi has survived numerous near-death experiences in the past, but it really did seem like he might have been gone for good this time, especially with Harada saying,
Heihachi Mishima is completely dead.
See, at the end of Tekken 7, Heihachi was able to overcome Devil Kazuya, but was ultimately defeated by a punch to the chest, which may have stopped his heartbeat. The final blow was him then being thrown into a volcano by Kazuya, just as Heihachi did to him long ago. Let's dive into some theories that might explain how this old geezer is still kicking. Theory 1. Heihachi is just a beast and he just survived it. I know this sounds ridiculous at first, but hear me out for a moment. If we look at Heihachi's durability showings, there is a lot to be impressed by. Obviously, at the end of Tekken 1, Kazuya threw Heihachi off the cliff and Heihachi was able to just climb back up without really much visible damage either. Then there was at the end of Tekken 4 / beginning of Tekken 5 when he got caught in the jack explosion and it sent him flying several miles and buried him into the ground. Heihachi said that he had no recollection of what happened, likely because he was in a coma for a few weeks, yet he still woke up with no visible damage and no muscular atrophy despite going weeks without food or water, and he was ready to fight again as well. It wasn't like he wanted to go to the hospital or something. Heihachi was also able to survive the Raging Demon from Akuma in Tekken 7 with nothing but his durability alone, and he was even able to get back up seconds later and throw another punch. In Tekken 7 we did see that Heihachi had complete resistance to the heat emanating from the lava which he would soon fall into, though perhaps more impressive than this is that he was able to survive numerous shots from Devil Kazuya's laser beams in Tekken 2. Admittedly, this was from a non-canon ending, and this was likely a weaker version of the Devil, but still it's quite impressive, and I think it does suggest that he would be able to survive something like this if it happened in canon. Let's not forget as well that as a Mishima, he literally has visible electric currents running through his body whenever he wants, and he's completely resistant to it. The laser beams actually survived, the heat emanating from the lava, and his ability to channel visible electricity that may be akin to lightning throughout his body suggests that he has remarkable resistance to heat. And this resistance might even extend to falling into lava, given his history of enduring incredible physical trauma. Or maybe, just like Kazuya, he did actually die after being thrown into the volcano but was brought back to life. If he was, then it was almost undoubtedly by the Tekken monks that we see in his reveal trailer. Not only was Kazuya brought back to life like this, but the trailer literally uses the word resurrection, heavily implying that this is the case. It would also mean that Harada was kind of telling the truth. But who are these mysterious Tekken monks, and what role do they play in Heihachi's return exactly? The monks seem to have a hierarchy with more skilled members in black and trainees in white. We see a group of what seem to be less experienced members practicing the basics, and a group of white wearing monks being instructed by black wearing monks. Heihachi is also shown wearing a black version of their attire, and of course he is the ultimate expert. This alone doesn't tell us much outside of the fact that this group may have been around for some time, considering that there are members of such high skill within the group. But if we look closely, we can actually see that the existence of this group was confirmed 6 months ago, which is roughly around the time that Heihachi and Kazuya had their fight in Tekken 7. This can't be a coincidence. Perhaps Heihachi had been training them in secret since long ago as a kind of backup to the Tekken Force, since the Tekken Force only serve Heihachi when he's the leader of the Zaibatsu, and he would rather have a personal army that would back him up no matter what. Regarding the Tekken monks, what about this man in the white mask that we keep seeing? Is he really Heihachi as we're being led to believe? He certainly uses Heihachi's moves, but so do the other monks. He does have electricity running through his body though, which does imply Mishima genetics, which of course implies Heihachi. However, keep in mind that Heihachi was experimenting with implanting Ogre's genetics into his body, so it's not impossible that he knew how to implant his genetics into someone else's body in order to create a strong ally. If you think about it, it's kind of similar to what he did with Reina, right? He created Reina and she ended up being a really strong ally for him. So it could be that he was sort of raising an army and some of them have his genetics. Also of note that this man doesn't seem to have the same scars that Heihachi does. Heihachi has this huge X-shaped scar on his chest, and he also has this new fist-shaped scar, which I imagine was left by Kazuya in Tekken 7. But this man doesn't seem to have either of those. He also seems to just have too much hair to be the Heihachi that we know. My own crackpot theory is that this man is none other than Lydia's father, judging by how her father and this man are shown in back-to-back scenes in the trailer. Plus they seem to be of a similar age, and Lydia seems quite important to the story expansion. I don't really have any other evidence other than that, that's just my hot take. But going back to the monks as a whole, remember how I said it can't be a coincidence that the existence of the monks was discovered 6 months ago? We learn that these monks began attacking Tekken 4 soldiers, which implies to me that they're out for revenge to what happened to Heihachi. As I said before, why rely on the Tekken Force being your army when you can raise an army that will fight for you no matter what? With this army by his side, Heihachi can more effectively join the battle between Jin and Kazuya. So while I do want to believe that these monks have been around for longer than 6 months and were only just discovered 6 months ago, it would be strange for Heihachi not to have used these monks sooner, considering that he literally did apparently die against Kazuya, so why not use them? And it's also strange how their crest has a striking resemblance to the new scar on Heihachi's chest that he only got within the last 6 months. To be fair, it is kind of just a generic fist shape that they're using for their crest, but it seems a little bit coincidental. If the group is relatively new, as in 6 months old, then that would also explain why Heihachi hasn't come out of hiding until now, because he had to train them up first before he could start to challenge Jin and or Kazuya, considering they do have many allies by their side. As for what Heihachi's aims are within the story now, the most obvious answer is obviously that he'll go back to fighting Jin and Kazuya as their lifetime enemies. But keep in mind that in Tekken 7 we were told that the only reason he was battling against them in the first place is because he wanted to rid the world of the Devil Gene. And if you've played the Tekken 8 story mode, spoilers, you'll know that Jin and Kazuya seem to no longer have access to the Devil Gene anymore, so what would he gain from fighting them? Sure, Kazuya and Jin may still bear a grudge against Heihachi and seek to defeat him, but he doesn't have any reason to want to fight them other than self-defense maybe. But considering that he went on the attack with his Tekken monks against the Tekken Force, that seems unlikely. If you remember before Tekken 7, Heihachi was kind of shown to us as just a power-hungry maniac who wanted the Devil Gene for himself. And I think that version of Heihachi is a bit more entertaining and more charismatic, so I would be happy if they kind of did away with the sort of retcon that they went with in Tekken 7 and just brought that version of Heihachi back. But this does raise a clear question, is that if he's purely out to destroy the Devil Gene, then how will he react to Reina, who's potentially his most loyal subject? We know that Reina has the Devil Gene, so would Heihachi eliminate her for the sake of his goal, ridding the world of the Devil Gene, or would he take her as an ally and perhaps even continue his experiments with the Devil Gene, using Reina as a key test subject in that? He might ally with Reina and leverage her power for his own ends rather than eliminate her, even if his goal is to rid the world of the Devil Gene, because he must have other motives as well. Just quickly as well, I've seen a lot of people saying that Heihachi looks younger in this game, but I don't think so. Assuming that this Jack robot fired a missile at Heihachi, it very well could be that the missile and explosion just dirtied Heihachi's hair a little bit, because this character portrait that we see does show Heihachi looking as old as you'd expect him to be given his age. Although we can't completely write it off, as in Tag 2, albeit it's not canon, but we were shown that Heihachi was experimenting with how to get his younger body back, and when he takes this formula, he looks as he did in Tekken 1 and 2. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider giving me a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it and it helps me out a lot. I'd love to know in the comments section which of these theories you like the most, or if you have any of your own theories that I didn't talk about. I'd love to continue discussion with you guys down there. I'm just a big Tekken fan and love talking about this stuff. That's all for now. Take care.